I feel compelled to talk about Collin Gillespie, who, coming off of that Clippers game where he was the spark that ignited the fourth quarter comeback and helped unlock KD and everybody else to really take it to the Clippers, only 5 minutes tonight, 101 from the field. That, of course, was a 3. Are we disappointed that Collin only got 5 minutes of burn tonight?
Absolutely. Very disappointed. I had said in pregame I wanted to see 10 to 12. I think Steven had said 15. I don't want to overreact to one quarter, but we've been watching this team play for the better part of 60 games. We've seen who is giving the effort and the energy defensively and the execution and who is not. And we've seen how much a difference just that line can make. And so when Collin Gillespie comes into the game and does those things, obviously he had the 10 points and he shot the ball well. He hit the big 3 that everybody loved. But defensively, he was actually owning his assignments. He was helping. He was in the right positions. He was hustling. And I know he's another undersized guard, but he played well on both ends. And that energy that he brought was infectious, and it was very noticeable. And it was part of the spark that the Suns found in that fourth quarter, aside from Kevin Durant just being Kevin Durant. So for that to happen at a pivotal moment in the season when you need wins and that feel like a landmark potential turnaround moment, and then you go into this game and Collin Gillespie gets 1 5-minute stint and then nothing the rest of the way, that is really disappointing. And I'm not sitting here saying that Collin Gillespie would have made the difference in this game, but you never know. He might have, because like Tyus Jones was not good tonight. Grayson Allen was not good tonight. Bradley Beal was not good tonight, despite having the 9 assists. Like, I want to see a more even distribution of minutes if these other guys that are getting paid more are not going to play like it. Like, you need to give Collin Gillespie a run.
I mean, we talked about it after the last game, how he found a way to have an impact, his ability to stick to people when he's navigating screens, to be active when he's in help, to be a presence on the defensive end where he's felt. How many of those 3 things that I mentioned, which could be added to a long list of things, were present from the Suns in terms of how they were guarding the Nuggets on the perimeter tonight? Maybe you could have used that spark that at least comes in a form of reliability of someone doing things on defense that at least your opponents will have to feel or think about in some capacity. How many times was Jamal Murray coming off of any variations of misdirection into a 2-man action with Nikola Jokic scot-free, to where Nick Richards has to shift over from trying to play the midline in his drop coverage to now he has to commit to the ball, and now Nikola Jokic is wide open for a 3, or whoever it is, maybe it's Zeke Naji that's in at the 5 is wide open for a 3, and everyone's pointing at Nick Richards. Oh man, he keeps leaving the centers. Well, why is he leaving the centers? Because the guards can't guard the people that they're supposed to be staying attached to in some capacity. Like, you know how far things have to go off the rail for the big to have to decommit from his matchup to keep someone from getting a paint touch or getting to the rim.
Decommit from Nikola Jokic.
And that's time and time and time and time again. That's the fundamental issue with the roster.
Yeah.
No one in the perimeter group guards. I've given Bradley Beal credit, but he's punching well out of his weight class because he's been relied upon entirely too much to guard these elite level creators from the perimeter aspect. If he's your number 2 or number 3 perimeter defender, he's better suited to have more sustainable success. But when you have him go from guarding Tyrese Halliburton to Emmanuel Quickley to any of these other good to great to elite level guards, he's not going to be great all the time.
And you see Beal chasing all these guys around, but he's always like a step or 2 behind. His screen navigation isn't good enough for that role, and it's the role that he has to take on by default because of who he is playing with. And he's just not good enough at that. You need to put in some guys who are actually going to navigate those screens, chase guys around, and give their full energy in the minutes that they're allotted.
Yeah, and the thing with Beal is that you've been having him actually create a lot, which is not what I want him to do either. I want him to play more off ball, and so you're having him spend so much energy on the defensive end, chase around the best outside perimeter threat on the team, and then you're also having him initiate and handle the ball when you have Booker and KD there as well. That makes absolutely no sense to me. The same thing with Gillespie. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Collin Gillespie would have won this game, but he did the last one, and you gave up 37, 31, 34 points in the first 3 quarters. If you maybe played Gillespie a little bit more, closed out on 1 or 2 more threes, this game might not have gone to overtime. If you hit your free throws, this game wouldn't go to overtime. If you didn't brick your threes, this game wouldn't have gone to overtime, right? There are things that you can look at and say, okay, what could have gone differently? And playing Collin Gillespie is one of those. And I think Kellen put this out on social, and I thought it was a great point. What kind of message are you sending as a coach when a player earns that? And the only conversation over the last 2 days has been Collin Gillespie this and Collin Gillespie that. And what are they saying about Gillespie? And Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are praising him and all of that. And then you're not even going to give him any run whatsoever. 5 minutes is absolutely nothing, even though he did a little bit with that. But even those 5 minutes, they were a -10. And I get it. That's not good, but I still don't think the plus minus tells the full story tonight. Ryan Dunn also doesn't play tonight when you're in desperate need of perimeter defense. But at that point, I'm just not surprised anymore.